responsibility.
Finishing this fight.
Hello everyone and welcome into the Lore Council. This is Cade and I am joined today with Keith.
Hey.
And first timer on here to join us for this scorching hot video is Ken.
What's up?
Not too much indeed. As the title of the video implies, we are here to bring you some scorching hot Star Wars takes, sure to knock your socks off. Before we hop into those, though, we do have a Discord. The link for that is down below if you guys would like to join. And yeah, without any further ado, let's go ahead and let the new guy go first. So, Ken, what is your first scorching hot, delicious, molten lava Star Wars take?
I don't like you hyping me up so much, but I unironically believe that Atton Rand from Knights of the Old Republic 2 is a better scoundrel than Han Solo.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're gonna have to back that up.
Yeah, he's got more depth. At least I'm not bringing in any other Legends content just because I personally haven't gone through too much of it. But at the very least, from what we get in Heir to the Empire, which is about as far as I've read in Old Eagle, I think Atton Rand has more depth. He's a more interesting character. He's got a cool backstory. We get to see inner workings and personal mind and how he deals with some of the seedier elements in the galaxy. I just personally believe that he is the superior scoundrel.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he is as Atton will ever be.
You're right on that one.
And he's got that.
Yeah, I haven't finished KOTOR 2, so I can't speak too much about Atton, but from what I did play, he seemed alright. He seemed like, standard kind of scoundrelly sort of guy. He's got a sense of humor.
He's a cool character because even over the course of a relatively short game, the evolution you get from him, whether you're playing light or dark side, really, really opens up. He does benefit from being one of the first characters you meet in the game, so you have the most time to actually work with him. But even after some of the big reveals we get for him, he still finds new ways to progress the character, and in some of the cut content, especially if it gets restored with the restored content mod, we get to see him really open up, especially if you decide to choose the canon female light side exile. Then you get some real cool interactions with him in the exile as well as him and the other companions, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, could you go into anything like specific about why he's, say, a better scoundrel than like Han Solo, who's like, the classic Star Wars scoundrel?
I think that he's got more development. Han Solo, in the original 3 movies, just sort of goes from jackass to jackass fighting for the right side. We get a little bit of character development with him and Leia towards the end, but realistically his character doesn't change all too much, other than what we get to see in the first movie. In the second and third movies, he's more or less the same character. Whereas Atton Rand, in the beginning, he's real closed off, and even as you start to slowly break away at his shell throughout the course of the game, it feels like you just keep having to break away to get at who he is as a person. A little bit of a spoiler alert. Even after you train him as a Jedi, you still learn more about him. You learn more about him in other people's cutscenes. He has definitely got the most development out of the game, and by the end of it, he is both a superior scoundrel and a superior Jedi to some in classic Star Wars.
Well, here's the only problem with that. This first one we touched on before we started recording, but Harrison Ford is way hotter.
I'll give you that. At least original trilogy.
You definitely can't get like the
Indiana Jones,
subtlety of like an acting performance from like video game graphics. That's for sure. Even with like, the world's best voice acting and
not in
and
2004, but I think I think the KOTOR 2, whoever voice acts that, and I think does a really, really good job of getting his character to come through. But my second point to why Han Solo's better, Atten is very drippy, but Han Solo's drip is immaculate. Like, it's untouchable.
He always has the best outfits.
Yeah, exactly.
With the one weapon out, and I think as cool as it is, even I did like the little nod they gave to it in sequels. Even if I'm not a huge fan of them, I like the little nod they gave to how powerful his gun is. But it's classic, I think, and it's those classic drips that has held up the test of time. I have to say though, even if it's not quite as good, Atten's ribbed jacket it's a look. It's definitely a vibe.
It's a look, but it's not the look.
Definitely based off of Han's look.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's got the boots and everything.
I don't think Han's gets better than his classic vest. I'm going to be real. His other drip is really good. I still think the classic vest is Han's best look.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
I'm a big fan of the jacket.
Drippy.
I'm a big fan of the jacket.
I think the jacket's good, but I don't know. That something about the classic vest really.
Well, the vest with like the white V-neck, it's a look.
It's a look.
Yeah, before we jump down.
Before we jump down the fashion
wormhole.
Yeah,
the rabbit hole.
Yeah, we better get to Keith. What is your first hot take? Let's make it spicy.
Sure. It's not super spicy. I think Rogue One is beautiful trash. It's a beautiful movie that I love watching, but the characters not the best. But I think it's enjoyable, and I think it looks cool. Looks good. That looked good.
One of my hot takes is on Rogue One, so I'm not going to touch too.
Yeah, one of my hot takes is on Rogue One.
I definitely have to agree with you. I genuinely like Rogue One as a movie. I think it's interesting to watch. There were some fantastic memes spawned out of it, and some of those action scenes are really good. But I would also have to agree with you. Other than one or two, I am not a fan of it, and I am terminally upset that they wasted. Goodness, I forget the actor name who played Jyn Erso's father. I'm so upset that they
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, I'm so upset they wasted him on a throwaway role like that.
Yeah.
I feel like a great character that they could genuinely fleshed out in any other movie, that having him be there for just a little bit kind of is upsetting. I would have loved to see him in any other role as, a good guy or a bad guy. It really wouldn't matter to me. I just like him as an actor.
But yeah, I don't really care about the memes of the movie, but I just think visually it's a very striking movie, and I just think it does the look of the original trilogy justice, it just looks really good. Everything in it, the Death Star looks fantastic. It's just it's just like Star Wars, eye candy, eye porn.
That Shore Trooper armor was rippy. That was pretty icy.
Oh yeah. Oh, dripped out. Everybody's dripped out. I will say, Krennic, despite being a rather meh villain, dude's drippy.
Oh,
dude, straight out of the Calvin Klein store, bro.
Oh yeah,
immaculate.
Great, yeah.
Oh, and the Death Troopers. If they were going to replace the Dark Troopers, if they were going to try and replace them with anything, I think the Death Troopers are definitely a worthy, at least attempt at a replacement. I think they look cool. The speech that they gave them, the coded speech, super nice, and that blaster they use is definitely one for the ages.
Oh yeah, it's quite I was just kind of single shot sort of thing.
Yeah.
And everything else, K2SO's funny droid. I love the look that they his chest piece is the Denger's chest piece. So it's that's where it comes from.
And he does definitely. I know I'm going to be sort of shilling for KOTOR, but he does definitely give off some HK-40.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The boy.
He's extremely sarcastic.
Sarcasm from Droid is honestly one of my favorite takes. I do have to say I liked it a lot more in Rogue One than I did in Solo, though.
Well, yeah, because it's different kind of sarcasm.
That's a
You
different
know,
kind of sarcasm.
the
Not to
the
say,
droid from Solo, she's more like sassy, whereas K2SO is just like he hates
Dry.
everything.
It's very
Yeah,
dry
super
sarcasm.
dry.
Well, I mean, obviously he's voiced by a British fellow, but it's a very British sarcasm.
Isn't the droid from Solo? Isn't she like an Aussie or a Kiwi or something? It wasn't like, or was she just regular British?
Good question. She's got one of those European
kind of
accents.
Some kind of accent.
Yeah. Well, before we fall into the droid accent rabbit hole, my first hot take is also about Rogue One.
Really? Oh shit!
It is.
Wow.
I think Rogue One is overrated. It's the most overhyped like piece of Star Wars that has come out since like Episode 3.
Oof.
Anybody who says this is the best Star Wars movie, just like, okay, bro, just like take a seat, because Empire exists. Like let's calm it down. This isn't the best movie just because it has the coolest space battle, it has the coolest land battle. Like
Cool battle though.
What's that?
It's a really cool battle though. I mean,
Oh, it is. It's really, really cool. But like, if it
Super
were,
hype.
Transformers movie, it's really good to look at. You've got some really good classic content, but there is something lacking.
yeah,
The original content.
and what's lacking is this beautiful thing called a interesting story. Like I get it, like the Death Star stealing plans, like that's a cool thing. And you were right. They definitely wasted Felicity Jones. Like she's a really good actress, and the guy who played Cassian also did a really, really good job too. And like there were bits and pieces that could have made this great, but I just feel like it just didn't. It just doesn't live up to what people say. Like on the internet, you
Story, but
the
beyond
writing really
that-
isn't there for the main characters.
no, and it's Star Wars kind of has this cliche of like, oh, it's a galaxy where like everybody just happens to know each other. Like, oh, they happen to rescue Jyn, who knows Galen Erso, who they're also trying to find, and she's trying to
He
find him.
knows the Saul
And
Guerrera.
she knows Saw Gerrera, and Saw Gerrera.
And he knows the TIE pilot.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like the classic Star Wars, like galaxy of coincidences.
I do
Also-
really like TIE pilot, by the way.
Oh yeah, TIE Pilot guy's really cool. Bor Gullet. I think Bor Gullet's cool. I like that. Save the rebellion. Save the dream.
Lies.
Lies.
Deceptions.
Deception.
I gotta.
Bor Gullet will know the truth.
That was such
Depends.
a weird scene to me. Like, I feel like that almost doesn't register to me as the same movie as how I remember.
Oh no,
It's so
because
weird, yeah.
everything on Jeddah, it really is only there so Jyn can get the message from her father, which can then set up the rest of the movie. And it's just like I understand that
Next
in the
cutscene. Next action sequence.
Yeah, pretty much. I think obviously like in the EU, the Death Star plans were like a huge deal. There's like a million stories written about it that eventually all got retconned into Operation Skyhook. But I never thought that like the retrieving the Death Star plans was something that we needed to see. Like I always thought it was something that was a bit cooler when it's like, okay, you know, everything's on this droid. That's all you need to know. Like the Rebels got it. And I think it works better as, stealing the Death Star plans works better as either a video game, a novel, or a comic. I don't think it needs an entire two-hour movie around it.
Yeah, I think a video game would have been a really nice medium for it.
Yeah.
I think it would have been pretty cool. I don't have to say, I don't hate the movie. I definitely know where you're coming from, or you say overhyped, because when you talk about like what's happened since Disney bought it, Rogue One seems to be people's linchpin. But I definitely don't think it stands up to a lot of the other super hypey Star Wars movies.
Oh yeah, for sure. So
I don't know. I think it's definitely a decent prequel to A New Hope if you want that, and it's definitely one of the better, one of the best Disney movies because just by default. That and Solo. Who would have thought that the one-off Star Wars, story movies would have been the best Disney movies.
Yeah, I could certainly see that. But yeah, so to loop back
Next hot
around to
take.
back around to Ken before we fall down another rabbit hole, which we're famous of doing. What is your next mango habanero take?
All right, just to finish him off right now, let me finish with a Rogue One hot takes.
Woo!
I do not think Chirrut is a good character. I do not think he was necessary.
True.
I genuinely think he was annoying.
Preach.
No.
Agreed.
I think he was, again, Donnie Yen. Please, I feel like I'm getting his name wrong. I really.
No, that's his name.
No, it's Donnie Yen.
Okay, Donnie Yen, excellent actor. He was someone I definitely would have loved to see as a full Jedi. But the whole "I am the Force is with me" thing.
Yeah, it was awful.
I like it. It's fun.
I hated it.
His fight
I like his
scene-
performance.
His fight scene was fire.
Oh,
his
yeah.
performance was like Hayden Christensen to me, where it's like I think he did as good as he could have given what he had to work with. He's a great
The strongest
actor.
hearts are made of Kaiba.
He did what he could, but I just don't think it was enough to save what was an otherwise uninteresting character.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the whole thing of like having like a religion of non-Force users who are like into the Force, I think is really it could be interesting, but they went about it in like the most boring way, and it's essentially because then it had all these people like it has like just Joe Schmo's like, so is he a Jedi? Can he use the Force? I'm confused.
Well, yeah, I think if he was like he was a Padawan during Order 66, and he sort of didn't have a way to actively develop his Force powers, kind of thing, I think that would have been fine. I think it would have been interesting, but just the whole, oh yeah, I know of the Force, and I believe in the Force, and I may have some minor connection to the Force, but I'm not a Jedi.
Yeah,
Well, I thought it was supposed to be that they were kind of like jaded and they'd sort of fallen away from the Order or something. Like the guy who has a big gun, I think he just lost his connection or stopped using it. But Chirrut still likes using the Force, but I guess maybe he's just not a Jedi anymore. They kind of seem like bums when they meet them. They're just sitting on the side of the road.
Maybe it was miscommunicated to me, but the guy with the big gun never seems like he's part of the same religion as
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Like,
I thought he was like supposed to be a Jedi.
No, it was just Chirrut's buddy, I think.
Yeah, that's
I totally assumed he used to be a Jedi or something. Like, they say it somewhere in there.
It could be.
I don't think so. If he was ever, because at the very
It's
least,
like
they never make
alluded to somehow.
Never make it clear. I think he has just spent enough time around Chirrut to know what Chirrut's about, but I don't think he's ever really like, he's never subscribed to the same philosophy.
But I said it before. The characters in Rogue One, they're not great.
Okay, Cassian was pretty good, and I'm glad he's getting his own show. I gotta say, I am
Agreed.
interested to see what they do with Cassian, but
Yeah.
the rest of it, I couldn't really care too much about. I also think, as gorgeous as it is as a scene, the kind of last minute weird semi-romance they give him and Jin is a little forced.
I don't think it
Like,
was
not even a romance.
I don't think it was a romance. I think it's just like a platonic "we're about to die" hug.
And
Yeah.
I think it's fine. It's
Too
just
bad for him.
Communicated weird. It is that I have to say that is definitely a stunning scene in terms of how it looks.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, I like how dark the movie is, just in terms of like just their willingness to just kill off characters and people in the movie constantly.
Yeah,
Great.
I definitely think I don't hate the realistic thing, especially because I have to say we haven't really touched on it, but the hallway scene is easily the highlight of the movie.
Boo, the hallway scene.
I love the hallway scene.
I hate the hallway scene.
Now everyone's come around to hating it when it is pretty hype.
I think it's hype. I unironically think just seeing, because we don't really get any of that in the movies, in the TV shows, getting one scene of Darth Vader going absolute ham I don't think we necessarily need to say it again. I don't agree
Yeah.
with people that think we need a whole movie of that.
Oh, boo,
Once-
boo, those people.
I don't think the scene breaks anything. Like it's just Vader using his standard powers, you know.
Oh yeah, I don't think it breaks anything. I think, and I definitely, I agree. I thought it was super hype. I think it's just gotten to the point where I have had to hear about it ad nauseum for the past like 6 years. That I'm,
Yeah, see, you're just doing like the Dark Knight thing. Like, oh, I hate
Yeah,
the
I'm
Dark Knight
just-
because
I'm
everyone
just-
loves it.
yeah, I'm just tired of hearing it.
But you do like it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, but I don't think it's that impressive.
say that.
Vader's killing, people that have no chance of, fighting back.
No, it's not. I mean, I think what it is it takes all of the hype we get from the "I'm surrounded by fear and dead men" scene.
Ah, I hate
from the
that scene.
comics. I love that, but I think it takes the same hype we get from that and puts it into a visual medium, like a
Yeah.
like a
Legends
movie.
comic
I think
Vader is superior.
the Legends Vader in general is superior.
Yes.
Superior. Anyways, that's my hot take.
Anyways, yeah, so, Keith, onto a hopefully non-Rogue One hot
Yes.
take.
It is not.
Whoa!
Yeah, I'll say
Let's
this.
go.
This is kind of a recent take I've come around to having, but I think episode 1 and 2 are better than episode 3. I like them more. I just enjoy them more. Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of think episode 3 is a little overrated.
Well, on your last
I can't-
sentence, I
if
agree,
I
but I
can-
don't know if I can agree with the
Well, anyway,
hot take.
I guess I personally enjoy episode 1 and 2 more than episode 3 now, and I can't really justify that. I don't know.
I
Just
can
enjoy
agree,
more.
or I can concede if you enjoy them more. I can't argue your enjoyment, but I think my question comes: do you genuinely think they are better movies, or do you just enjoy them more? Because that's a sort of clear distinction.
I do kind of think they're better movies, just because one of the things that bugs me about episode 3 is how like there's not a lot of actual sets, and there's like reused sets, and it's a lot of green screen and stuff. So that kind of sucks. Like there's just more actual sets in episode 1 and 2.
True.
And that to me just helps out a lot more.
I think it definitely feels more Star Wars having actual sets versus green screen, but I don't think episode 3 makes it a point to be like, I don't think it's to a point where it would change my opinion of the movie versus some of the newer Star Wars movies.
And all the stuff that just seemed hype before just kind of seems lame now. Like, I don't know, like Anakin's Fall just seems lame.
True.
Order 66 scene, I don't know. It's
Order
like,
6016 is okay.
And then all the really cool stuff that I loved as a kid, like just seeing like all the Clone Wars stuff, I just don't care about it now. I'm just like, nah. Like, I don't know why it doesn't do anything for me. If I could combine into this take another one of my takes, I actually think that the ending of episode 2 is a better ending point than the ending of episode 3. I think the ending of episode 3 is just too much. Like, it tries too much to like perfectly connect to episode 4. Like that shot of Darth Vader and the Emperor looking at the Death Star being built. Like, I don't need that. Just show me like that ending scene where we see all the clones lining up and getting put on the carriers, and you just hear the Imperial March, and it's like, whoa, like, you get what's about to happen. The Clone
I think
Wars.
The point of episode 3, and trust me, you'll hear more about this in future takes, but the whole point of episode 3 is the tragedy. So getting to see the full fall, getting to see sort of what becomes of Anakin, becomes of Obi-Wan, even if it's not like a complete
Yeah, I kind of don't like seeing it. I think it kind of ruins Vader. I kind of just like the way I imagine it in my head better. And you really don't need episode 3 in order to like understand Vader or anything else that happens after it. Like, you basically get the idea from all the surrounding stuff.
It does a much better job of encompassing the difference between young Anakin and Vader than episode 2 does, though. Episode 2 brings out more, like, you can definitely see what they were trying to do, and it's like clear especially once you have the whole picture what they were trying to do, but it comes off entirely as whiny. None of his actual gripes come out as gripes. They all come out as as nitpicks. So the one scene we get where we really see his darkness, like what could be the fall, is the scene with his mother. I think that's the highlight of the movie, at least in terms of Anakin's development. I think the rest of it doesn't really come across a fall versus what we get to see in Episode 3.
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying that like Episode 2 is perfect, but yeah, I just prefer it to Episode 3. Like what do we really get of his fall in Episode 3? Like, I think it's all just kind of ruined by the infamous scene that Kate and I have probably talked about fucking 5 times or so by now.
Which one?
But to recant, it's basically the scene where Palpatine pretty much tells him he doesn't know how to save Padme, and then Anakin's like, "Oh, okay, I'll suck your dick, bro," and then that's it.
True.
I'll suck your dick for some life preservation, bro.
I don't think it comes off like that, especially like the whole beginning of the movie is us getting to see how disenfranchised he is with the Jedi. So we already see him.
Is he though?
Yeah. He's not for the Jedi. He's for Obi-Wan. The whole beginning is, I shouldn't have done that. He's got this mental conflict. But once we start to see how he's treated by the Council, the fact that even Obi-Wan lies to him because of the Council.
I really don't think the movie supports that. The statement you just said, Anakin being disenfranchised with the Jedi. Like, before that, I think he's definitely going through his own shit and all that, but he's not really showing that he has a problem with the Jedi. There's things about the Jedi that don't work that he
actively says they don't trust me. He actively, there's a whole walking and talking scene before Obi-Wan leads to Utapau that goes over it. And it's not subtle either. There's a few subtleties that you have to make inferences to, but that scene is just him coming out and saying, "I don't trust the Council. They don't trust me." That's not even one. That's just word for word. But yeah.
Yeah, but Anakin's a dingus. Is kind of the the whole linchpin of the prequels is that he continuously does dingus actions. Like if he would have done what Yoda and the Council would have said, he would have avoided his crappy Fry fate, and he would have not been fried.
But the thing is, if we left Episode 3 exactly as is, but we got to see more of his actual his disenfranchisement with the Jedi in Episode 2,
a better version of his fall.
Yeah, I think if Episode 3 was as is, we got to see more of what we see in the Clone Wars animated series. If we got to see more of that in Episode 2, I think it would have been just fine.
Yeah, but we
I don't know.
didn't.
For me now, it just seems like the movie just isn't as good as it used to be, and there's kind of just less there for me, and I'm just like, why am I rewatching this movie or whatever? And it's like, I already know what happens in the movie. I could just make it up in my head and then just have a better movie. Yeah,
and to be fair, that is fair. But before we fall down into a completely unrelated prequel,
we can go a little bit further here.
All right, we'll go further down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. I just think, if I'm doing a marathon rewatch or something, I would probably, I don't know. I just kind of like Episode 2's ending as sort of just a better, more ambiguous kind of thing. It ends right before the Clone Wars, and then you jump to Episode 4, and it explains everything you need to know.
I don't think so. I genuinely don't. I think it's not as good as I think it would feel incomplete jumping from 2 to 4.
I think so. I think we get enough of Obi-Wan being vague about the prequels that you could hypothetically you could skip Episode 3 and be like, oh, okay, so what we saw there was the beginning of what Obi-Wan talks about in Episode 4. I can see where you're both coming from, though, to be that dude sitting on the fence. Although I've made it known that I'm no fan of the prequels.
Maybe add in 03 Clone Wars in there.
No, that has a terrible ending to go to Episode 4. As much as I love, it does connect right into Episode 3, but
Yeah, and '03 Clone Wars ends directly at Episode 3, so
But it has this great foreshadowing of the scene with Anakin where he has like this vision of him becoming Darth Vader. That's pretty cool.
I honestly think the episode or the 2003 Clone Wars series does a better job of Anakin's fall than the 2008 Clone Wars series.
Yeah, true.
Well, of course. All we get in '08 Clone Wars is sometimes Anakin is kind of mean,
That's true. Sometimes he force chokes people.
but then
Okay,
the
but
rest
to
of the
be
time he's
fair,
just even-keeled Jedi.
The whole scene on the whole scene with him and the Eternals or whatever they're called on that
Cringe.
planet, I thought that
Disgusting.
was okay.
No,
I thought it
burn it with fire.
I thought it wasn't bad.
Dave
Well,
Dave
especially,
Dave
I
Filoni, more
barely
like Dave
remember anything
Baloney.
that happened in those episodes.
It's terrible.
it was-
I'd fight him.
you just hate it because it's Filoni.
I hate it because it's cringe. I would
Because it's Filoni.
I would fight the Mortis dudes. I'd fight them if I met them on the street. 1v1 me,
but
bro.
Abeloth is from Mortis. And
Yeah,
Abeloth
but-
is from Mummy.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I pretend that connection doesn't exist in those books.
But the connection is in those books.
There's one sentence that connects them, and that's it.
Okay, if it's there.
Yeah, it's
What are we
there.
talking about?
We've fallen down a rabbit hole. Let's move on from this. We don't need to talk about our mom here.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Next hot take.
next hot take. Beware everybody who thinks Rogue One is the best, because I think Solo is the best Star Wars movie we have gotten since Disney bought it. I love Star Wars.
Whoa!
I love Solo.
Whoa!
I simp for Solo.
I agree. I can agree with that.
I
Solo
love.
was good.
Solo's good. Alden. Oh, what's his last name?
Alden Squarejaw.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Alden Hot Boy.
Alden Ehrenreich? I don't know.
Yeah, Alden Hot Boy. One, he's drippy. He's iced out, bro. Like, come on. Two, he does a amazing job of being Han Solo without being a Harrison Ford copy.
Yeah, without doing a Han Solo
I
impression.
definitely have to say when I was talking about my previous take with Patton, I have to say the one version of Solo I do think that comes in contention to that might be the Solo from the Solo movie, just because we do actually get to see a really cool development there.
True. Okay, so to bridge
I was
our...
gonna say, I like that. I like that in the movie it says, he's like, I'm a driver, I'm a flyer, and it shows that he can do more than just like pilot starships.
Yeah.
And that's that's something they bring up in Legends, like that he can pilot anything. So that's that's cool. That's nice.
All right.
And
Yeah, so Ken, to bridge our hot takes here, and just to go on a side tangent, what if Alden Hot Boy played Atten Rand?
I think that would be an excellent casting.
Oh, there we go. We've just created the perfect Star Wars movie. But anyways, yeah. Oh, it's not a hot take, but we bridged our two conversation pieces.
Yeah.
I just think the movie's great. I think it's fun. It feels like Star Wars. It feels lived in. It feels kind of crusty and disgusting in all the perfect ways. I think the comedy's on point. I think it all works really, really well. The only thing I don't like is, very ironically,
Name.
the what's that?
The name, how he
The
got.
villain.
The naming thing. I've moved past it. It's whatever.
Solo.
Solo, who are your people? But no, I don't like. I like and I don't like the beginning train heist thing, because it feels like they're using generic like heist movie speak, and I hate it.
Yeah, that is a little.
I don't know. I don't like that Kira is like the villain.
It's fine.
I
she's-
think that's fine.
She's not the villain until the very end. Plus, Amelia Clark's just a super great actress.
Yeah, she did slay that role.
Oh
I
yeah.
also have to say,
Yeah.
Childish Gambino as Lando.
Oh, love him.
He's so
Good.
good. So good.
People overhyped it though because they said like, oh, he sounds just like
Oh, I think he did. I think he did a
Williams.
great like his speech
Like, no,
pattern
he
is
doesn't
very
sound like
similar. Not like
Yeah.
not like his voice. They don't sound similar, but like his cadence is very similar. And he calls him Han. He calls him Han. What more do you want? That's what Lando does.
Anne and Chewie.
He got the role on point. I think both of them did. I don't think they're direct one-to-ones of either of the actors,
Sure.
but I don't think they needed to be.
Yeah.
I think for what they were doing as younger versions, they both had a little bit more Spitfire in them.
Yeah.
They both still, though, nail, preteen versions, to put it that way, of
They're
what we would
preteen.
have been in episode 4. I think they both, of the original trilogy, I think they both did a really great job.
Yeah, super
pretty
bang up
good.
job.
What about Droid Rights lady, huh?
Yeah, she's fine.
She's
Droid.
fine.
Yeah,
I don't
Droid.
think she's necessary, but I don't think the whole she's one with the Falcon now thing was necessary.
Yeah,
I
but
think
it's
her just dying would have been fine.
yeah. I also think
But-
she's fine. For some reason, there was like this outrageous like hate train of oh god, what's her L3?
Yeah.
Yeah,
L3.
L3. For some reason, there was like this giant hate train, and it's like, did you guys watch the movie? Like, it's not that bad. Like, it's
She's fine.
like you said earlier, Keith. It's just a sassy kind of sarcasm. Like, it's in a million other movies that we've watched. It's in a million other TV shows. So this one's
I
bad
think it's
because
funny, her starting like
droids?
a droid rebellion. I guess that's fun.
Well, everyone loved K2SO, but they didn't like her when realistically she was just a female counterpart. Like it was a very
Yeah.
different kind of sarcasm of but
I think,
but
well, K2SO has a reason to be sarcastic. He's like a reprogrammed Imperial droid working for rebels. It's kind of like,
I mean,
it's
yeah,
kinda mess with his mind a bit.
but C-3PO is kind of a sassy asshole.
yeah, and they heavily
He's
allude
not
to
sarcastic.
the fact that-
Yeah, but
they
he's
heavily
sassy.
allude to the fact that R2D2 without his memory wipe is
Or-
very flavorful in his verbiage. Like they allude to that in a lot of Star Wars, that him not having a memory wipe has just made him a super unique droid.
Yeah,
So
I
having another
3PO was
droid
always polite
actually
to the
pretend
humans.
to be like that is fine. I think it was fine because she's just essentially R2 if R2 can talk and wasn't.
yeah, he's R2. Yeah, exactly. She's R2 if R2 didn't say beep boop bop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on a side note, I like her design. I think it's fun.
She looks
Yeah.
It's different.
cool. Scene with Lando and his capes. I also like the
Oh,
idea that he has
drippy.
capes.
Just
I
so
do like the look
dripped
of
out.
the brand new Falcon. That's nice.
Yeah, I do love
Yeah.
that because it shows that Han is just he's a frat dude.
Yeah.
Like
Friendly.
he
Friendly.
inherits his dad's like well, not his dad's, but like his best friend gives him essentially like a space, Mustang.
Yeah,
and then, like-
he just,
Like a couple years later, it's like it's a dude who lives in his Mustang.
he hot rods it, and it's always falling apart. He's always fixing it, but he's got like a mattress in the back seat.
Yeah, exactly.
And they do keep the most important part of, the backstory of Han and the Millennium Falcon is he wins it in a Sabacc game. Yeah.
True. Yeah, I think that's a really fun thing too. We get to see
Yeah.
Han Solo win Sabacc.
A little bit. This is more of a nitpick. This is a personal thing. This has nothing to do with how I think the quality of the movie was. I am a little bit disappointed that Sabacc was changed from Legends. I really liked how Sabacc worked in the Bane novel. With the disruptor or with the magnet field or whatever, and the electronic cards. I thought that was a really cool version of a card game set in Star Wars.
Well, so apparently, what I've read from some guidebooks, I think, is that the version of Sabacc they play is just like I guess like a regional
Mustang.
variation. I think it's called like Carillion Spike or something like that. I want to say.
Oh yeah, like how Atten says we're going to play Coruscant standard rules or whatever.
Republic
Okay.
Standard, or no,
Republic standard.
Republic
rules.
Standard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that's cool.
No, Republic Senate rules. God, we're idiots.
yeah. It's just
No
funny
one
because
cares.
I'm pretty sure we've both played the game. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
20
Yeah, so essentially the thing with Sabacc is it's basically like Texas Hold'em versus Omaha Hold'em. It's just two different versions of essentially the same game.
But with
Right.
what is it, 21, like a little bit of 21 thrown in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Or
two different
what's that game?
blackjack.
Sure. I wanted to say blackjack first. Whatever.
It's like, well, Pazak is directly blackjack.
Oh yeah,
but
literally. All right, so Ken, what is your number 3 buffalo wing take?
Ooh, I got a couple. Okay, I'm gonna be entirely honest. I think the best piece of Star Wars media, or pretty darn close to it. So this is gonna
Ewok
be
movies.
I think, no. One of my favorite pieces of Star Wars media that I think. Let me actually, you know what? Let me just rephrase this. if they were to take any piece of Legends content and bring it one-to-one into the current Star Wars,
Oh, the Droids
current
TV
Star
show.
Wars canon, it would have to be the Plagueis novel.
Oh, let's go. Ya
I think
boy.
the Plagueis novel,
It's hot.
The whole novel, it's hot. And as far as I can tell, other than maybe a few ties back to like Revan and Bane, I think it fits with the current canon. The idea that Plagueis is pulling the strings all the way through Episode 1 is cool. To be able to see a lot of the setup of what happens in Episodes 1, 2, and even 3 is cool. To get a history of the Sith, to see how Palpatine became the master manipulator that we see in the movies, I think it's cool. And Plagueis, oh goodness, if they could get the guy who does the audiobook.
Oh my god, he's like
He's
like a slightly different version of Patrick Stewart, and I'm here for it, man.
Oh yeah. He is so good.
Just get Patrick Stewart to do it. I'd be down for that.
He's such a good character too. We see him as, Palpatine, we see him, he's this malevolent character. But Plagueis never feels outright malevolent, despite the fact that he is the
Evil.
most powerful being in the universe or whatever. He is what Sith is up until Palpatine takes over. And he does such a good job of it. He takes the idea that Bane came up with of using stealth and subterfuge to rule the galaxy from behind the scenes, and he just brings it to the forefront. Part of it is James Luceno's writing. I think
True.
he is.
Big
I
facts.
think he's he is probably the best Star Wars author.
Debatable.
Okay, yeah. To be fair, Timothy Zahn I think is up there too.
Debatable.
Wait, so the hot
Zahn
take
is
is that
my favorite.
Plagueis is a really like one of the best Star Wars media, or
Hot
what?
take is that it should be adapted into the current canon, 1-to-1, no changes.
Oh, sure.
I think unironically it changes nothing that Disney has set up.
Yeah,
He's
there's
better, I
there's a
honestly
couple little
think
lore
he's a better
things that it
character
like.
than Palpatine.
There's like just a couple little things that it does that I'm not super big of a fan of. Like, it explains the reason why Anakin doesn't get like sensed as being, bad, quote unquote, is because he just has like the natural ability to hide his feelings in the Force. Thought that was kind of dumb.
Well, I don't think it directly says that. That's sort of how they describe it, but it's not like we don't see anything from Anakin's perspective.
I mean,
No, but, like,
yeah, I agree. It's not like he's like playing
basically
Kazak in his head
described
or
as that
anything.
he can just naturally hide his feelings in the Force for some reason.
I mean, I think
And then
Well,
to
Palpatine is like,
hide them because we see from Episode 1 that he can't hide them.
yeah.
It never really says that. It says what they were talking about was how he came to be. What really upset Plagueis was that he was like, this is the only real point of contention I think people might have, is that he was born of the Force.
Oh, disgusting.
He was born, yeah. That was the only,
and then
I think the only iffy bit. Well, I mean, to be fair, the whole "there was no father" thing. Really, what else could it have been? He was born of the Force. What else could it have been?
right, that's like the whole reason that he's like the chosen one and stuff.
Well, we just pretend that didn't happen.
Another similar thing is it says Palpatine. I guess this is my personal gripe. It says Palpatine he's so powerful in the Force that he's like a singularity or something like that. He just kind of like he doesn't even appear to have any Force ability or something like that.
That's not. It doesn't.
Or am I
you're thinking of
misremembering that?
You're thinking of the Episode 3 novelization.
Am
You're
I?
thinking that the whole
Yeah.
Palpatine's beyond power, which is Dooku says about him.
Well, there's some way he's able to hide his Force ability, and it's not Sith sorcery. It's something else.
Well, they both just cloak themselves in the mundane world. One big thing that this gets across is that there isn't, that the plane of the Force isn't something you go to physically, but that you stepping directly out into the mundane is completely possible. Dooku does it. We see him without the yellow Sith eyes throughout all of Star Wars. Like the whole idea that he's cloaking himself actively, that he's just being Palpatine, not Sidious. I think it's fine. I don't think it really changes anything. I mean, it really makes it I think it also explains why, the dark side clouds everything. All of that stuff that we hear from episodes 1, 2, and 3. I think having a solid explanation for why the dark side is currently clouding everything, I think is pretty cool.
Does it explain it?
It does. Tenebrous' master, Tenebrous being Plagueis' master, created a
Sure.
small rift in the Force, a fissure, and then in the little time skip we get, or like the second little time skip we get, Palpatine and Plagueis bust it wide open. It brings the dark side to the forefront, and that being there, the fact that the dark side is now actively on the scales weighing the balance of the Force is what caught the Jedi's vision. And they go pretty deep into describing why that's the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess overall, Plagueis is really good. Some few little lore things I didn't like here and there,
Yeah.
but overall pretty good.
Yeah, so
I guess
yeah, what is
I kind
your
of like Palpatine's fake story that he tells about killing Plagueis rather than what actually happens in the book.
Well,
Well,
to be
he's
fair,
just
he does
telling a
kill
story.
him in his sleep.
Yeah.
He does kill him in his sleep, realistically.
Is it in his sleep if he like wakes up like halfway through?
Well,
He didn't wake up. He was drunk.
yeah.
So then he wasn't asleep.
No, he was asleep.
But
He's drunk. That's the whole idea, is that Plagueis found a way to surpass the need for sleep. He didn't sleep for over 10 years. So, in his moment of, at least the way the book describes it, this was a spur-of-the-moment thing, just like it was for Plagueis. It wasn't planned. It was, they'd been working together for so closely for so long, they were completely comfortable in each other's presence. They spend an entire night. Plagueis, of course, finally feels comfortable with the culmination of his plan coming to fruition, right? He hasn't slept in 10 years. He drinks enough wine to make him severely inebriated. He's incredibly tired and sleeps. Palpatine senses that this is the only time he's going to have to kill him, because he even admits that at this point, Plagueis is still more powerful than he is. But he realizes this, much like Plagueis does at the very beginning of the book, he realizes that this is his moment to claim the Sith
right, and then
throne.
Palpatine lightnings him to death, and Plagueis is just like, "Nah, I can take it, bro."
He doesn't even do that. This dude is drunk. He has.
But Palpatine thinks at a certain point that Plagueis is basically just taking it to see if he can, because he thinks he can, right? Like he thinks he can just regenerate himself.
He thinks that, but remember, he's paranoid. Up until this point in his life, Plagueis has been the vision of power. Plagueis was power to him at this point, The whole one to embody the power and one to crave it thing, that's very real here. So he's not sure. The fact that he shows any signs of coherence has to terrify him. And for a moment it does. But once he sees that Plagueis is actually dying, he finishes the job. And his little monologue at the end, I think, is also spicy. The whole, the whole bit about matricide, patricide, fratricide.
No, I don't. It's been a while since I read it.
I love that. I love that whole monologue.
Yeah. You are quite the Plagueis stan there.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have no. Yeah, I stand Plagueis mega hard.
Yeah, that's very obvious. Before we get on to any more Plagueis standing, Keith, what is your third hot take here?
Oh, I'm all out of hot takes, yeah.
Oh, you're out of hot takes?
Yeah.
All right, well.
Episode 2 is a good leaving off point. Episode 3, overrated.
All right, well, I will hop into my third hot take, and this will be the ultimate hot take here, and we'll leave you guys at that. And so here we go, the final hot take of this episode. Asajj Ventress versus Anakin Skywalker from the Clone Wars micro series is the best lightsaber duel that we have seen in Star Wars ever.
Oh. You're really gonna throw that one out there.
I really am. You can keep your Duel of Fates. You can definitely keep your Battle of Heroes. Don't need to watch that one again. I mean, keep that one 20 miles away from me.
Battle of Heroes is the superior. Okay, unironically, Battle of Heroes is the best fight in Star Wars.
Yeah, sure.
Jedi dance party.
I could see that if this didn't exist. It's amazing. It's perfect. The atmosphere is amazing. It's the sound effects that they use. Yeah, the music. It has a super awesome parallel to the second best lightsaber duel in Star Wars, Luke versus Vader on the Death Star, with Anakin at the end. So there's your.
What do you mean? Wait, Luke versus Vader on the Death Star?
Yeah, on the Death Star.
When does Luke fight Vader on the Death Star?
In Return of the Jedi.
Oh, Return of the Jedi. Well, you mean the Death Star too?
Yeah, the Death Star.
The second Death Star.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Death Star. We all know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Asajj versus Anakin, it's amazing. Like it did lightsabers like the best in the prequel era. It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean it has the benefit of being animation, so everything could be really tight and
Yeah.
you know,
Like
choreographed
there's that.
without looking
The
choreographed.
sound effects are amazing. We get Anakin doing Anakin things where he kind of zerps out and gets kind of angy at the end, like Luke does. Like it's a perfect parallel. The setting on Yavin is super cool. They're in the Masasi temples. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool callback.
Definitely.
It's happening. It's also just a very unique setting for a lightsaber duel. Typically, lightsaber fights take place in very closed areas, and this one takes place in a jungle, and then inside and then outside of a pyramid, on the summit of a pyramid. And then Anakin has his rage moment at the end. It works perfectly. He gets the flashes of like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Yoda. It's amazing, and it's just like perfect. It's the perfect lightsaber fight. And
Definitely
plus
the best fight scene in 03 Clone Wars for sure.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
single lightsaber fight.
Yeah, and also
I don't know if I agree though. I genuinely think, and okay, so I may try and sneak a minor hot take in here at the end. I think because I'm one of those shills that thinks it's completely fine to take the side-by-side material and think it adds to the quality of the main material, especially if you're taking into account what we get to see in Revenge of the Sith novelization, when we get the actual thoughts behind the fight. I think the Anakin versus Obi-Wan on Mustafar fight is unironically the best. I see where you're coming from with that fight. It's great. It's a great fight. It's executed fantastic.
Too long.
You have to say the direct parallel, like you were saying, to the Return of the Jedi fight is tasty, but just the music, the atmosphere, the idea that these are two evenly matched fighters who have fought side by side, ideally, closest thing you get to brothers, and just the whole atmosphere of it, the music especially, and then the whole "I hate you" line at the end from Hayden Christensen, I think is the best part of the movie. I think just that culmination, getting to see what makes Darth Vader Darth Vader. I think that brings it home for me.
Okay, but here's the thing.
I hate all of it.
Here's the linchpin. Here is the linchpin that makes Asajj versus Anakin the best. Anakin tanks the Force push, bro. He just tanks it. Like, you can't beat that. It's the coolest thing ever. Like, we don't see that in any movies. I don't think in any of the other animated shows we see anything like that. Anakin he tanks the Force push, man. Like, it's the coolest thing. Like, we get nice little.
He probably like puts like a little force bubble around himself, and then. Like,
well, yeah, if you're looking at like the in universe,
counterpoint-
but like if you're just watching the show, man, he just tanks it.
But counterpoint, the colliding Force pushes in Duel of the Fates. That's the first time we ever saw anything like that.
Colliding Force pushes in Duel of the Fates.
When does that happen?
Or not Duel of the Fates, excuse me. Battle of Heroes.
Okay, sure. Yep.
It's kind of dumb looking.
Yeah, it's okay.
They both have their hands like right next to each other, and like
Yeah,
making faces.
that's the thing. It looks a little goofy in live action, but you have Anakin taking the
fight
Force
looks kinda
push.
goofy.
You have Anakin tanking the Force push in like 2D animation. It's hot. It's hot, man.
We see tanking Force pushes in 3D animation with Force Unleashed.
Yeah, it's a video game though.
I don't know. I'm not sure what it is about the choreography of that the Battle of the Heroes fight, but I just don't like it.
I agree. Too many
Like,
spins.
It seems too
Way too many
fast
spins.
to me. It's like not
It's not that
impactful enough.
it's not that it's too fast. There's too many spins.
There's
Like, I don't
honestly less spins than most of the fights in the prequels. That's probably
Like I think maybe they just practice it too much, and it just I don't know. It's just
And I guess
you gotta
that
I don't like it.
I
okay.
get
Don't
So
like it.
again, bringing the novelization into it, like the whole especially if you're taking in-universe stuff into account, I think it's fine. The whole idea of fighting as a Jedi is that you are actively having a mental battle at the same time as you're having a physical battle. You sensing your opponent's attacks and counterattacking is like the thing that makes battles in Star Wars work the way that they
Yeah.
do.
yeah, and that's
Jedi.
true.
That explains the way the lightsaber fights work. It doesn't really help me like think like it looks cooler or like it's
Yeah,
more compelling. Like it's kind of just drags on like the whole fight.
Yeah, I could definitely see how like novelization. I could see the argument that Battle of Heroes is better, but as visual mediums only, like going straight from TV microseries versus the movie, I think I agree with Keith. It looks a little too rehearsed. It's a little too clean. That's a big reason. And I'll steal a thing from you there, Ken, and I'm gonna tack on a hot take too towards the end here. I think that the prequel lightsaber
where
fights
they
are
kind of beat up each other.
yeah, where they they have like the fist fight. Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome.
There should have been maybe more of that, like
That's
make
the
it
thing.
more
It doesn't.
dirty fighting, like make it feel painful.
Well, and that's the thing. It doesn't feel. I don't know if gritty's the word.
I think they hardly put a scratch on each other like the whole fight.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well, the whole idea was they were meant to be
Leg
evenly
chopping.
matched. I agree with that. They should be evenly matched, but I think that's the thing with Battle of Heroes too. It doesn't feel as physical as like
there's a whole scene where he chokes him actively with his hand and leans
Yeah.
him back.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
Like
Duel
Duel
of
of the Fates, I think is better. Even though like I've seen it so many times and I know all the moves, I think it just looks better as a fight. And
Yeah, I
that's
think-
shorter
Third
too.
hot take, Duel of the Fates is overrated. I love it as a fight. I think it is overrated as a fight.
I think okay. Well, I'm gonna add on to your hot take. I love Duel of the Fates, but I think that the Duel of Fates song is overrated.
I'll add in a third
okay.
thing packed on everything else.
You're both
I think
idiots.
I think it's fine. Definitely a bit overrated. I don't think it's like, whoa, this is so amazing, but it's it's pretty good. Like, obviously, after you've watched something like 30,000 times, it's gonna get a little bit, like you're gonna notice everything. Like, obviously, it's choreographed and rehearsed and everything, but yeah, I think Duel of the Fates is better than Battle of the Heroes for sure.
I don't. I think even as a soundtrack, I think what they did in episode 3 is cool, or they sort of mix them where we get a little bit of Duel of the Fates and Battle of Heroes. I still think Battle of Heroes is a better song. I think it's a better song. I think it's a better fight. I think it holds more emotional depth.
Hot take.
I
Battle
think
of the
all
Heroes
in all,
song isn't that good.
It's fantastic. Well, especially with the accompanying scene. We get a lot of those vocals, like the rising vocals in the background, which is sort of a parallel to the rising vocals we get in Return of the Jedi. But it's this time accompanied by Obi-Wan and Anakin's interaction, which is the final bit of writing action in the movie. It's the climax of the movie.
It's trying to come off as mournful, like the way the song sounds, but I think it just comes off as being kind of like boring and repetitive. It's just like dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
It does that
it's
10,000 more
phenomenal.
times.
Phenomenal, especially because you have to realize it is being broken up. This isn't something you're watching all the way through. It's being broken up by the Sidious Yoda fight, which is not quite as interesting. But I think the fact that it's broken up makes it so you really, whenever the song does play, it really hits home. And mind you, we're definitely all coming from this after having watched it yearly our whole lives, right? Since it came out in 2005.
Oh yeah.
Not sure
yeah.
This isn't a first watch review, but especially from like the first couple times I watched it, the mix of what we get to see with Yoda versus Sidious, and then jumping back to Anakin versus Obi-Wan, I think it was phenomenal. I think it was done perfectly. Honestly, don't know what
All
I would
overhyped.
change in that fight.
Overhyped.
Now that you've seen it a million times.
Well, now that
Overhyped.
I've seen everybody on the internet tell me that it's the greatest thing since Coors Light, I mean, yeah.
Okay, but to be fair, how many times they back it up with anything other than, oh, it's so good? Not. I feel like actually having a conversation about it and talking about it is a little bit different than when people just sort of dick ride it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I will say that being able to have an interesting conversation about it is interesting, because most of the internet it's just schlong writing, and it's like, could I schlob this knob real quick?
Yeah. You done sucking that, bro?
It's my turn.
I just think it tries to too perfectly set everything up, and leave
that's
everything in a
fine.
nice little package.
I will
We've
say...
already talked about how Star Wars is the universe of coincidences, so I think it ending in a perfect little package is completely fine.
I just think that if they trimmed 3 minutes off of the fight, it would be a lot better. I think it just overstays its welcome a little bit.
The part where they're swinging on the cables.
They're swinging on the cables. That's gonzo. The part where they're taking cover from like lava raining down on them, shit canned. The part where they're fighting on like the tiny little cart that's flying over the lava, get that out of here.
I think the cart is fine. You're going with anything. I think the beam, like the really thin beam where they're sort of fighting for balance.
Oh yeah, hard pass.
I think I would keep the cart but get rid of that if we're getting rid of anything.
Yeah, we can get rid of the cart. Yeah. Also, I mean, Anyways, the moral of the story here is Anakin versus Asajj from the Micro series is the best lightsaber fight.
It's debatable.
And I'm just talking about this fight. I could probably think of 3 or 4 more hot takes just about Revenge of the Sith, but they'd have us talking for another hour.
Yeah, exactly. And
If I could add a
unfortunately,
little hot take, I would say,
right, let's get it.
Have Gendy Tartakovsky just be in charge of Star Wars. Have him do all the Star Wars.
Nice. I like it. Everything 2D for the rest of time.
Yes.
I like it. Novels, they're 2D now. Comics, we're going to make them more 2D.
Okay, but Plagueis in 2D, now that...
Oh my god, yeah. Let's have Gendy Tartakovsky direct the Plagueis movie in 2D.
Yeah, in 2D.
Only in 2D, though. So help me. If they add one more dimension, I'm out.
Well, what about smell-o-vision? You think like the 4D thing, but with 2D graphic?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, okay.
As long as the visuals are 2K or 2D, that's all that matters.
2D.
2D.
4K 2D.
Yeah, I want it 4K 2D.
Smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision.
I can't wait to smell
Smell-o-vision,
Plagueis'
yeah.
disgusting body, I'm sure.
Oh, wait, dude doesn't sleep. He definitely doesn't shower either.
Gosh. Well, you got to think though. He only doesn't shower for the second half when he's a hermit. For the first half, he has to be seen in public all the time. So that man, I wholeheartedly believe, did at least during the first half when he's making public appearances. He's definitely the most drippy person in Star Wars.
Oh, very drippy. Yeah, but I think the real reason that Palpatine killed him is he was stinking up his place. Dude hasn't slept in 10 years. He hasn't showered in 10 years either. And plus he has a respirator on, so he definitely hasn't brushed his teeth. He's disgusting.
Think if he was staying the night, he was probably snoring like crazy too, keeping him up all night.
Oh my god, yeah. If he's
He
drunk,
can just regenerate his cells so he doesn't smell like ass.
oh nice, yeah. He manipulates the midichlorians in his dead skin cells.
Okay, so unironically though, one thing about Plagueis is the whole beginning bit where he can use the Force to change the levels of hormones and chemicals in his body. The whole idea that he had complete control over his body, I think is really cool. I think it's completely fine to have complete control over your body. With the Force, I just think it's a cool addition.
It does kind of seem like that it would be more of a Jedi ability and not like a Sith ability.
Yeah, but could he control his BO?
If he could, there's a whole.
Because at least according to the Bane books, the Sith powers are only supposed to be destructive.
Well, there's a whole bit at the beginning where when he's leaving, having killed Tenebris, he's getting eaten up by mosquitoes, so he changes actively how he smells to make the mosquitoes try and not smell him.
Hmm.
So theoretically, he could just not smell. Also, according to the Bane books, yeah, they're supposed to be more destructive, but he actively also uses destructive power. Like, there are universal force powers that aren't light or dark. And
Yeah, man, I've played KOTOR. I know how that works. My wisdom modifier won't affect those ones.
I guess Bane was just like super concentrated on like destructive force abilities.
Well, you got to think about the time he was in. He was consistently at war, at least in the whole third book, versus Plagueis, who lived in a time where when he had to fight, it was few and far between. Despite the fact that
he was more like a scientist, basically.
Yeah, he was more concerned with, using Force Old Spice.
Especially the whole idea that he could like see down to the midichlorian level with the Force is used to, manipulating those parts of his body and other people's bodies.
Manipulate the chlorines to create life.
He could manipulate the midichlorians to create deodorant.
Swamp ass be gone.
The fact that he atomized somebody with a force push is also super cool.
True, very true. But before we fall down another Plagueis simp, I'm going to ask one more question. It's going to be very unrelated, very goofy. What scent do you think? What deodorant do you think Plagueis used when that he was manipulating his body smell like? Because Plagueis to me strikes me as a Old Spice classic kind of guy.
No, he uses Old Spice Night Panther.
Ooh, nice.
If we're talking regular deodorants, then I definitely think Old Spice Classic is up there. But realistically, I think he was probably more of a cologne kind of guy. I think he was definitely like a name brand scent kind of guy.
So he's like the Aqua de Jo by Armani.
Yeah,
He uses Old Spice Night Panther or Swagger.
Oh, definitely. No, I think I might hop on the Swagger train because, like you said, he's drippy, and he's also an old man, so he would think that Swagger would be like a cool name.
Okay.
Swagger is cool.
You got to think about how old he is. He could be an Irish Spring kind of guy.
Oh, geez, that's a good point. Maybe he's using lye soap.
I think Irish Spring though. Like when I think of old people, I think of my grandfather. He has like a lifetime supply of Irish Spring. I think that's just like I need to be clean. Let me use my Irish Spring and smell like that soap. I think definitely for him. Now Palpatine, I could see rocking some Old Spice.
I feel like Palpatine's an edgelord, so he still uses Axe.
No, I was just about to say that he uses the Axe, the Axe shower gel.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about Axe chocolate. Actually, I had the spray can of that.
It smells good, but he doesn't realize it actually smells like dookie.
Yeah. All right. So Plagueis was like in his 90s when he died. He definitely used Irish Spring.
Plagueis was well over 100.
He was born in. Oh yeah, no, you're right. I can't do math. I Wikipedia'd him over quick. Oh, definitely Irish Spring.
Over 100. He was over 100 when he met Palpatine, and this was like 60 years before he died.
Oh shit.
All right. So basically. Yeah. All right, so we've come down to it at the end of this. If you're watching this is basically a bonus episode in itself. But we've come to the decision that Darth Plagueis, he used Irish Spring, and Palpatine used Axe chocolate.
Yes.
So if you've stuck around this long and listened to our rambling and hot takes, you've got to hear what deodorants the two most iconic Sith Lords of the prequel era used. But if you have made it this far and you've enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe for more great content from us.
Subscribe to the Lore Council.
Subscribe to the Lore Council. I plugged it at the beginning, but we do have a Discord if you've made it this far. And this has been Keith. This has been Cade. Excuse me.
I'm Keith.
I'm all goofed up. This last deodorant discussion has fried my brain. This has been Cade from the Lore Council signing off.
This is Keith. We'll see y'all later.
This is Ken, and I'll see you next time.